Mahua Moitra. Mahua Moitra. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, sir, my esteemed colleagues, I stand today on behalf of my party, the All India Trinamool Congress, to participate in the discussion on the Honorable President's address. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "All truth passes through three stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident." Parliaments the world over are known for what is said in their halls. The British Parliament is testament to some of the greatest sparring matches, some of the greatest debates, but most important for some very pertinent issues that have been perhaps very uncomfortable for some people sitting in the halls. This House too has historically seen some of the greatest debates, some friendly, some not so friendly matches, but it has more or less been a sacred space where elected representatives could speak their mind without fear or favor. Today, and I say this with a heavy heart, the Lok Sabha is a space which stands out more for what cannot be said in its halls than what we can say. The list of unmentionables is actually far longer than the list of mentionables. It is as though the Treasury benches get training in a special camp that teach them to react hysterically the very instant a member of the opposition utters certain words, no matter in what context. We cannot say China, we cannot say Pegasus, we cannot say BBC, we cannot say Morbi, we cannot say Raphael, and sometimes we cannot even say Modi ji. It is on this precarious floor of eggshells that we, the members of the opposition, are forced to walk on every day. Tread a little hard, speak a little loud, and the Treasury benches hammer you down with brute force. The Honorable President's address speaks about the biggest bane of our country being corruption and crony capitalism. The address says, "The government is of the firm opinion that corruption is the biggest enemy of democracy and social justice. Therefore, there has been a relentless fight against corruption in the last few years. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in the system. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in our system." I'm reading from the Honorable President's address, the very same president that you are loving to laud. There is increasing social consciousness in the country that there should be no sympathy for the corrupt in this society. An effective system has also been put in place to end the practice of favoritism and corruption in government machinery. The Honorable President ends her address by saying, and I quote, "Let us fulfill the oath of the Constitution by walking on our Kartavya Path in this Mahayagna of nation building." Honorable Chairperson, sir, as a responsible public representative, as a member of this opposition to whom this House belongs, I am walking on my Kartavya Path by having the courage, in spite of all of you shouting, to speak about what I'm going to speak. Every word I utter is going to be an oblation, an offering of truth into my Mahayagna of nation building. I want to talk about the most famous person in India today. Unfortunately for this House, it is not the Honorable Prime Minister. It is a man whose name starts with an A and ends with an I. And no, it is not Adani. For the purposes of this speech, let me just call him Mr. A, and his group, the A Company. I want to start off by saying, as an ex-investment banker, I want companies to thrive. But I want honest, hard-working Indian companies to strive and not trapeze artists, as an MP colleague of mine likes to say. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've all been fooled. I brought this topi with me.
I will just remind you. Your party has only 12 minutes.
Yes,
12
sir.
minutes for you. Confine. आप बैठिए.
I will finish in 12 minutes, sir.
आप बैठिए.
I have brought this topi.
आप बैठ जाइए. बैठ जाइए. आप डिस्टर्ब मत करिए, बैठ जाइए.
I have 12 minutes, sir. Please let me finish in 12 minutes. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've only been fooled. I have brought this topi with me because this man, this wonderful nation. I will start with wearing this topi. I have some extra for others who feel the same.
Please don't do that.
I want to summarize this story by simply saying, a company who in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender, or have to get a a regulated return. I want to summarize this story by simply saying a company who's in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender or have to get a regulated return, cannot have high multiples when it is growing with debt. Most infrastructure companies make a 5 to 15% return if they're lucky and they get everything right. Once an infra is built, it is usually sold to pension funds when the infra player keeps a small portion as an operator of the asset. The multiples at which this A company is trading was absolutely outrageous. Even Google, Amazon, and Microsoft don't trade at such multiples. Ultimately, markets are and should be about fundamentals. I want to ask all of you, when a Russian company was taking over an oil refinery from an Indian business, it was not an attack on India. When Mumbai's electricity was taken over with funds from Qatar, it was not an attack on India. The pride of India lies not in the wealth of one individual. The pride of India lies in the robustness of its institutional structures. I don't want to get into a Wall Street short seller's allegation. I don't want to get into a Wall Street short seller's allegation. I want answers to what I've asked. Sir, Mr. Chairperson, sir, are you going to do your job? And please ask the honorable gentleman to sit down. Are you going to do your job, sir, and ask this honorable gentleman to sit down?
I'll tell the House.
The pride of India is not the wealth of one individual. The pride of India lies in the robustness of its institutional structures. I don't want to get into a Wall Street short seller's allegations. That's not my job. I want answers to what I had asked in this parliament, what I have raised over and over again since 2019 in this House, in my repeated letters on record to the SEBI, to the CVC, to the DRI, the CBDT, and the Finance Ministry. It is a shame for us, it is a shame for our investigative agencies that these allegations against the A company were only listened to when global entities asked these questions. When I stood here and asked this question, the global world didn't believe us. You talk about elimination of telephone banking to PSUs and to LIC. Let me tell you that he gives the impression that doing things for him will put them in yours and in the Home Minister's good book. Honorable Home Minister, he has had the same shareholder for decades, yet his company says, we are not legally obligated to tell us who it is. Yet he's taking security clearance for ports and airports from the Ministry of Home Affairs. His group companies have amassed nearly 42,000 crores in foreign portfolio investments from 6 Mauritius-based funds. These funds have commonalities like common address, common company secretary, common directors. There is an urgent need to investigate these funds. I brought this up in this House since 2019. In addition, there are 40 shell companies linked to the promoter who have collectively moved billions of dollars into Indian companies of this favorite group. No disclosure of related party transactions have been made till date. There are media reports that funding into these companies is managed by a Chinese national, Chao Chu-ling. There are reports that it's managed by his brother, artificially pumping up valuations by using pump and dump. His net worth has moved from 9 billion in 2020 to 90 billion in 2022, all in the anticipation of a follow-on public offering and FPO. That was to be his moment of crowning glory. Madam Finance Minister, when your ministry in Parliament tells me that an investigation by the SEBI is ongoing, this company puts out a statement saying that they have been exonerated by the highest court of the land. Which court? Which nation? He also says his brother has no formal designation within the group, so any transactions with his brother or entities controlled by him need not be disclosed as related party transactions. Why has SEBI been a silent operator? Why would they permit a 20,000 crore FPO without completing an investigation report? Why didn't SEBI ask whether bankers had signed off on valuation? How is Mr. A's son's father-in-law allowed to be on the SEBI Committee on Insider Trading and Corporate Governance? How? What about the DRI? What about customs? What about GST, the Foreign Investigative Wing of Income Tax? What are they doing? This is deception of the highest order. This man has been permitted to use the LIC, to use SBI, to use the PSU banks, to get money as and when he likes. LIC already has 36,000 crore exposure to the group. SBI has outstanding loans of 27,000 crores. Why were they again anchor investors in the FPO? Honorable Civil Aviation Minister, in many ways, the Finance Minister said everything given to this company was by transparent tender. I have demonstrated in this House that the Dhamra LNG terminal shows that it is not awarded by tender. And even if he's awarded by tender, the tender rules are tweaked to favor him. For example, when he won as the highest bidder 6 airport tenders, the Airports Authority of India handover of 3 airports because they accepted he invoked force majeure, they accepted it. GVK built the Mumbai airport and they did a fantastic job of it. On July 2nd, 2021, CBI filed FIRs against the GVK group. On July 18th, the ED raided GVK in Mumbai and Hyderabad, and then they sold their 50.5% stake in Mumbai airport to a company. He his government further by pretending that he will finish Navi Mumbai by 2024. Honorable Shipping Minister, he has managed to use his proximity in the shipping ministry and his clout with the powers that be in Maharashtra to prevent that dredging in Mumbai port for years and years, so that traffic in JNPT cannot grow.
Certain disturbances in between, you have already crossed 14 minutes.
I can't help it, sir, because they've disturbed so much,
You have
sir.
already
So I
crossed...
yes, sir, I have extra 3 minutes, sir. Okay. They have disturbed so much. He has done the same in Paradeep by ensuring that GAIL doesn't put up an LNG terminal there and numerous other places. Honorable Petroleum Minister, he has oil PSUs. I have highlighted that GAIL and IOC were manipulated into signing a 46,500 crore 20-year pay-or-use contract for him in Dhamra that he got without a tender. Honorable Power Minister, he has, by skimming away in offshore entities, thousands of crores from coal supplies to Indian power plants. I want to end by saying, India is on its way to becoming the 3rd largest economy in the world. Don't let him smear your time in government with a stink of crony capitalism. Please immediately order full, complete and thorough investigation into all matters. Our country's reputation and the systemic stability of our markets are at risk. Don't worry about infrastructure assets. We have world-class Indian companies who can easily take over these businesses and be kept in check by our regulators. Let us all wear a topi in solidarity as a signal to these agencies that investigate immediately, fully and thoroughly in all aspects. In conclusion, everyone is asking, who is behind Mahua? Every day the fake news brigade, the Chaddi brigade floats new theories. Is it an American investment bank? Is it Ambani? Is it China? Nobody is behind Mahua. Mahua is behind the truth. जैसे शायर ने कहा है, दोपहर तक बिक गया बाजार का हर एक झूठ और मैं एक सच को लेकर शाम तक बैठा रहा. दोपहर तक बिक गया बाजार का हर एक झूठ. And in conclusion, sir, are you going to shut him up, sir? Sir, are you going to shut him up, sir? I appeal to you, are you going to shut him up, sir?
You please address to the chair.
I am addressing you, sir. Are you going to shut him up or not? Because in conclusion, sir, I have a right to speak without being heckled, sir. It is your duty as the chair to ensure that for me. And in conclusion, sir, I would like to finish, sir. Sir, in conclusion, everyone is asking who is behind Mahua. Every day the fake news brigade floats new theories. Is it the Chinese?
You are repeating
again. Is it Ambani? Is it JB Morgan?
You are repeating
it. Yes, I need to repeat it, sir, because they are doing this purposely to heckle me and to ruin the flow of the speech. So I need to repeat it because they need to hear it.
I have to call the next
Sir, nobody is behind Mahua. Mahua is behind the truth. Sir, let me finish. दोपहर तक बिक गया बाजार का हर एक झूठ और मैं एक सच को लेकर शाम तक बैठी रही. हम तो देश के खातिर ऐसे लगे ही रहेंगे. जय हिंद.
Thank you.